But
Coolio.
should I get a beer first?
Do you want a water or would you like a beer?
Maybe water, actually. Wait, I need to turn my phone off.
You can crack open the fridge as much as you want.
It'll
Actually,
text
you're going to
me.
be my beer boy because I don't want to trip over that cord.
Yeah, all right. All right, do you want me to get... I'll get you a beer when you want a beer.
Yeah.
Because right now I can not have a beer for a while.
And you don't want a water either?
No. Oh, I'm already sat here.
You're too lazy to get
too
up and get a
lazy.
beer.
I'm too
Welcome to a podcast now, episode 29, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
This week, firstly, I'm your host, Lachlan Rodwell, and I'm joined by someone who covers their face in black eye makeup and then goes out into the night pretending that they're the shadows, Lucas Boreham.
I have an identity crisis, people.
Yep. Were your parents brutally murdered at the age of 10?
Probably. Yeah.
It would explain a lot. If you haven't guessed, this week we're talking about The Batman. But first, we have the news.
As always.
And the news this week has to pertain to The Batman. And that is, it is projected that its opening weekend in the United States is 150 million, which is about on par with most big, blockbuster movies
Okay.
before the pandemic.
Okay. No, well, that's pretty good. That means that we've come full circle with the pandemic.
Yeah.
It means that we finally fucking come back. And people could say the pandemic has kind of ended. I feel like we have gotten out of it.
In a way, yeah.
And then we've just gone straight into fucking World War III. But
This is not a politics podcast. This is
not
a movie podcast.
Yeah. I'm just stating the facts, people. But I feel like we are out of COVID. I feel like everyone that wants to see a movie, or everyone that is just like, I can see a movie now, is.
Yeah.
And that's probably reflected in that $150 million in the
It
box
is.
office.
It's but so far the only movie that has really done pre-pandemic box office numbers is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, that was going to be huge if it wasn't, COVID. That was going to be insanely huge, especially with. Well, we obviously talked about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
So are we at the point now where blockbusters are gonna make money again?
Yes, I think so. I think that everyone that was not necessarily scared, but just restricted by COVID was like, okay, because I mean they're thriving for wanting to do something. They want to go out. They want to go to these fucking films.
Well, this is people are wanting to get back to their lives. But I think the one thing about movies that kind of hinders it is the fact that during the pandemic, so much was released digitally and through streaming services.
That's true. That is very true.
And, there's an element of going to the cinema that people hate. People hate, the fact that other people in cinemas talk, are on their phones.
You're sitting in a cinema with 300 people that are eating and drinking, so you hear all that.
And you're in a sticky seat. There are parts of it that suck.
Yeah, that's true.
But nothing compares to seeing a movie, on the big screen.
It's huge. And I mean, all the subs and everything. Again, we saw Batman on this, they call it the extreme screen for Hoyts.
In Australia, the extreme screen.
So, yeah, it's the screen is a tiny bit bigger, I guess. Or, no, it's actually quite large.
It's a big screen, but it's mostly the sound.
It's mostly the sound they emphasize it on. And the sound, I mean... especially if you've seen Batman, and there are a couple of scenes in there that you need the sound to just, portray these characters, to just portray some scenes so well.
And you're not going to get that on TV speakers.
No.
So at the end of the day, for these big event movies, people will want to go to the cinemas.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully now we're at the point where, blockbusters will make money again because people see them.
Exactly.
Even Tenet, right, which was supposed to be the movie that brought back theaters, didn't. Right?
I know, yeah.
And that was a year and a half ago now.
That's true, yeah.
So the movie that did it was Spider-Man: No Way Home. The Batman seems to be on track to do something similar. In terms of box office, I reckon the Batman will end up, it'll be short of $1 billion.
I agree 100%.
But if it wasn't for the pandemic, I think it would have been the highest grossing DC movie of all time.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think the hype around it and just
the word of mouth,
like, and you know, just the cast, or the
fact there hasn't been a Batman movie in 10 years.
Exactly. And this one, like, again, through the trailer, like, it portrays itself well through all the marketing. Yeah. That, like, it is going to be a great film, and I mean, you know, you'll hear us talk about it, but it is great.
Yeah. So do you think the Batman will break $1 billion or not? The only movie to do it during the pandemic has been Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah. Okay. Christ. Well, like, again, if maybe there wasn't a world war going on, maybe if, like, there was just nothing else going on and, you know, we're just coming out of the pandemic, then I would say 100% yes.
Yeah.
But because now, like, there's so much uncertainty, you know, and not to be political or anything, but, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll hit $1 billion. I really want it to.
I want it to too.
I want it, like, I mean,
because The Dark Knight hit $1 billion. I think The Dark Knight Rises hit $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Joker hit $1 billion.
Yeah.
So I mean, the world and the character is worthy of that plus $1 billion mark. It's just the pandemic that's holding this one down. Yeah. But also that this version of the Batman mythos is the most niche yet, which I think kind of hinders it a bit in terms of
you're right,
broad appeal.
Right.
The reason Marvel movies do so well on average is because they've got this mass appeal to them. Mm-hmm. This movie isn't trying to do mass appeal to its benefit, but its hindrance in the box office, and especially given the pandemic, it won't make $1 billion. It just won't.
Yeah, I agree.
But in 2 months' time, we'll come back. If we're wrong,
what will we do? I reckon if we're wrong, we'll both collectively drink a case in a podcast.
We'll end the podcast.
We'll fucking end the podcast.
It's done.
It's finished.
Yeah.
$1 billion on Batman, we're over.
Yeah.
Literally.
But that was the news.
Geez,
hit
stop.
the table.
Fucking.
You got to be careful with these microphones now.
Like, you make it sound like, again, we're in the Batman. Like, we're emphasizing that it literally felt like when you're sitting there that, like, your fucking seat was shaking like a 13-year-old in a church. Like, it was just insane.
What? Sorry, what was that metaphor?
Let's continue.
Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about The Batman. And as we've been told from The Suicide Squad, all you have to do is shove a "the" in front of something and then it's a new movie. Mm-hmm. But no, this movie is directed by Matt Reeves, who directed most notably Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
It stars Robert Pattinson, we all know from Twilight.
Yep.
But he's done some fantastic indie movies since then. Good Time's one of them. The Lighthouse.
Yep.
Lost City of Z is one of them. There's been plenty. So after Twilight, Robert Pattinson went on this run of doing these indie movies to kind of re-establish himself as an actor because Twilight kind of ruined it for him.
I like that because it does definitely show that he has fucking talent.
Yeah.
He really, like, he can really, you know, go from one thing to another. He has a plethora of, you know, what he can do and what he can be, especially like in The Lighthouse. Like, that was just like insanity at its best, if I'd say, for a character.
Lighthouse, I saw The Lighthouse drunk, and I think that's one of the best ways to see it because it's just so weird and wacky and all over the place. Mm-hmm. It's such a good time, but not in the traditional sense. I love The
exactly. That's true. It's not traditionally crazy. It's just crazy. It's
so when Robert Pattinson was first cast as the Batman, and this happened a long time ago. I was at the start of uni when this happened. There was a part of me that was like, oh, the Twilight guy? But since then, I've seen so much of his work that I'm like, yes, he can nail this.
Yeah.
And boy, does he. So we're going to avoid spoilers for the first bit.
Yeah.
He kills it as Batman.
He does.
like, we haven't seen a Batman yet who has fully, like, embraced just the insanity of being Batman, of being a guy who, because his parents died, dresses up as a bat. Like, it's such an insane thing to think about. And you see it in his, like, in every action sequence. He's fucking crazy.
He is. Like, he's psychotic. And, like, you know, like, because there are a lot of shots, you know, these are spoiler free, but, like, there are a lot of shots that, like, kind of just, like as you're sitting there, you're kind of contemplating, like, yeah, what the fuck's going on? Because like in the previous films of Batman, it was just like, you know, all this action, it'd throw it at you.
I never realized how much in the previous films Batman was a straight up good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this movie, he's not. He's way more blurred.
Yeah.
In his motives. At the very start of the movie, like this Batman goes on a journey where at the start of the movie, he's almost a menace to society. It's so refreshing to see a character portrayed that way.
Exactly. Like in the shadow of, you know, the Joker.
Yeah.
How he you know, he wasn't all that bad guy that from the start, and they kind of saw that people liked that, you know, like, you know, just, I guess, you know, a super villain in society and how society treated him like you know, treated him like
shit to
shit,
create,
you know.
Joker. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this almost does the opposite of Joker.
Yeah. In contrast to it, how, you know, the public there, it's very separate. There are some people that absolutely rely on this character.
Yeah.
But there are others that are just like, you're a fucking freak. You're a psychopath.
I love the opening of this movie.
Oh my God.
The way it brings you into this world and makes you understand that Batman is something to be feared.
Yeah.
Is so good.
So well done.
And Batman has been portrayed as, you know, both a symbol of hope for the citizens of Gotham.
Yeah.
And a symbol of fear for the criminals.
Yeah.
But in previous movies, and mostly, when we say previous movies, we're mostly talking about the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh yeah.
The fear brought on to criminals isn't necessarily seen.
No,
it is seen in this movie.
It is. Like they emphasize on it, like, massively when, you know, he lives in the shadows. So
he says, "I am the shadow." And that's the Batman we've always wanted to see, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it is shown so well in the start how, you know, again, kind of spoiler free, but like, you can kind of imagine this, like all these villains, all these criminals just doing like terrible things, and then you kind of just see them look at the shadows and
they're afraid.
They're terrified.
Which is what we've always wanted from a Batman
exactly.
movie.
And it just encapsulates, like, it is the perfect way of showing you what his influence has been and over the past 2 years.
Exactly. So this isn't we're not seeing the origin story, but we're also not seeing a Batman that's established.
Yeah.
Like, going back to Batman 1989, right, with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
That was an established Batman. We didn't see him, you know, developing his Batman persona.
Yeah.
But in Batman Begins, we see the full arc in one movie.
We do.
This is very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar to Spider-Man Homecoming, in which we have a version of the character that's not quite there yet.
No.
And by the end of the movie, he's closer to what you'd imagine the character to be like.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really refreshing to do for Batman. That he's not what you'd expect Batman to be like. He's on this one-man crusade because his parents died, and he's not necessarily doing it for the right reasons. He's blinded by his mission.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Rather than just being a generic good guy.
Exactly. And I mean, like, as we'll talk about it soon, like the villain, like, perfectly kind of just doesn't, he emphasizes, the drawbacks of the, you know, Bruce Wayne's character. And he just, he kind of, you know, shows more light on, like, you know, just the shortcomings of this Batman, like, facade, I guess.
And
facade.
You know what's so funny is that we always, in these movies, these Batman movies, it's always like the villain is like the flip side of Batman. It's like, you know, they're two sides of the same coin. I've never felt that way as much as I have in this movie.
Yes.
Because the Riddler, the way, and we'll get into it in spoilers, but his character comes about in response to the Batman.
Exactly.
And the way that they interact with each other and their motivations, respectively, make them mirror images of each other in a really dark way.
Mm-hmm.
We have not seen that before. Even Heath Ledger's Joker with Christian Bale's Batman, like, yet they would talk about how they're on the same, there's, two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel as much.
No, they didn't feel
like
too
this
intertwined.
movie. Yeah.
They, this movie definitely felt like it was just a Batman versus the Riddler, or the villain story. It wasn't because again, the Dark Knight was definitely it definitely felt like Batman versus the world, or Batman versus all bad.
Because Joker is just this embodiment of chaos. It was so broad.
He's essentially a terrorist.
Batman was fighting.
Exactly.
In this movie, because they turned the Riddler into a serial killer and Batman's a detective, it's that vibe of the battle of intellects. Like the Riddler's always one step ahead, and Batman's always trying to catch up. The tone of this movie and what it's most like, it is not a generic superhero movie. It's not close to anything like that. We've had, the Dark Knight, Joker, and Logan try to branch out from being superhero movies. This does it more than any other movie.
I agree, yeah.
This is a detective noir movie. It is Seven. It's Zodiac. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's so refreshing.
It is. It honestly is I had a few people say to me that, what the fuck, I came here for a superhero film, and this is more of LA noir. It's more of a detective film. You're more following these characters, discovering and figuring out this crime, or who the fuck this bad guy is. And I was like, I wanted more action. I would more fight pieces. And I mean the fight pieces.
The fights are great. The action sequences are great. The Batmobile chase is great.
Exactly. It's amazing. It shivers through my fucking spine.
Yeah.
But I did like this change.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
No, exactly. I think I was going into it knowing that it was a detective movie. Mm-hmm. So when it was this, 3-hour long epic, murder mystery detective story like Zodiac, I was prepared for that. Yeah. And the way it unfolded, it did a very good job. To me, it felt very similar to Joker, how it's paying tribute to these movies that have come before, typically, decades ago now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like an imitation. It's doing it genuinely.
Yes.
So I really like that. But if you were coming into it expecting your typical Batman movie, it's not anywhere near that.
No.
And that's when I was saying, in the news about how this movie's a bit niche. Not everyone loves Seven or Zodiac or any of those kind of movies.
No, I mean, again, I feel like Seven, when it came out, I don't think it was very well received. It was kind of the first Bourne movie.
Yeah. You're saying that kind of it gained classic status over time.
Exactly.
It wasn't initially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like when Seven came out, everybody what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Brad Pitt was up and coming.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman was in it, and
Kevin Spacey. Let's not talk about.
Yeah, but but even in that, he was amazing.
Yeah, of course.
But he was very creepy and very senile. He was this disgusting character.
Very much like the Riddler in this movie.
Exactly, very much like. But I feel like when it came out, that just wasn't the thing for that time.
So
but over time, it obviously became.
And I think this is a similar thing. I think people will walk out of the theater and say, "Look, if you want the difference between the Dark Knight and the Batman, the difference is the Dark Knight is a simple idea executed to perfection."
I agree.
The Batman is a very complicated, complex idea that's executed well.
Yes, I agree.
That's the difference. This movie is flawed, and I don't think I can really talk about the flaws without getting into spoilers.
Yeah.
But I will say, without spoilers, the movie takes itself so seriously and makes such bold decisions that it is really easy to make fun of.
That's true. But then again, I think it's still worth a watch. It's still definitely worth you pay $25 to go and see it in the cinemas.
You need to see this movie in cinemas.
It'll again, with your girlfriend, with your mates, it is amazing. It again, I think it has the strongest opening of any fucking movie.
And I would say it has one of the best heroic journeys of one of these superhero movies.
100%. Again, and it's just complemented by its cast. The cast is just perfectly.
Yeah. So Robert Pattinson, perfect Batman. I will say though, and I wouldn't say this is a spoiler, but you don't see Bruce Wayne much in the movie.
No.
So you don't get a full sense of his Bruce Wayne character. And this is a version of Batman that hasn't fully developed this identity of Bruce Wayne's the playboy, Batman's the vigilante.
That's true. Yeah.
Who's the real person? It's not like that. It's Batman is the real person, and Bruce Wayne just kind of exists occasionally.
Yes.
And that's different. If you think about a Batman comic or the video games or whatever, Batman's always Batman. He's always being Batman.
That's true.
That's the version of himself that he loves the most. It's what he enjoys. It's his sole purpose, and he thinks in his life. So to get a movie where that's actually the case, that's so comic accurate. It feels so good to see because every other movie, it's like Batman's barely Batman. He's mostly Bruce Wayne.
You're right. I mean, again, talking about the Christian Bale films, it is emphasized that when he is Christian Bale, he is this over the top.
Yeah.
It is a bit over the
Bruce
top.
Wayne's a mask. It's a playboy, fake persona.
And there isn't much depth to it at all. He's a very one-dimensional or two-dimensional character.
The last thing I'd say, because I keep edging towards those spoilers, last thing I'd say is Robert Pattinson feels like, more so than Christian Bale, that he's young and this trauma, he hasn't gotten over it yet.
Again, the trauma is if I haven't said this word enough, emphasized to fuck.
Yeah.
In Bruce Wayne's character.
They don't show the murder again.
No, they do not. There's none of that flashback shit.
Yeah, it was funny because Robert Pattinson said in an interview that because they didn't do Bruce Wayne's parents being killed again, he felt like he had to show his parents' death on his face the entire time. And you feel it.
You do, yeah.
He is dealing with trauma. And it feels...
It's like trauma hit him in the fucking head.
And it feels so real.
It does, yeah.
It's... Even Christian Bale, it didn't feel like... When he went to, Asia to train in that, it didn't feel like he was... throughout his journey of being Batman... In hindsight, compared to this movie, it doesn't feel like he was that traumatized by it.
No, it doesn't. It
the
feel
same
like
way as this.
It does kind of show it a bit in Batman because when he does want to kill,
Joe Chill, who killed his parents,
because he does look like a bit of he hasn't moved on at all. Yeah. But after that, it's just a snap, gone. And he's like, I'm in my own.
Yeah.
He barely the murder barely ever comes up. Whereas in this movie, it comes up constantly.
Yeah.
It's essential, it's essential drive to his character, and it fucking shows.
And the other thing I'd say is that Batman as a character, he's in the superhero world, he's the only human, right? And we've seen human superheroes before portrayed, and we've seen previous Batman movies, but it's never portrayed like this human character as being able to make mistakes, right?
That's true.
And this Batman makes, and we won't talk about it now, but this Batman makes mistakes. And I love that. It's such a human quality to make mistakes. And it's like, you never see Hawkeye missing a shot.
That's true.
Right? You never see Iron Man building a suit of armor that doesn't work at all. Right? Whereas this Batman, he does his Batman shit, but makes mistakes.
He does.
And it is so good.
I know.
It's so good.
Because then you have some of the audience that does agree with it.
Yeah.
Say for me, I honestly liked some of the mistakes he made.
I liked a lot of the mistakes he made.
Exactly. And then that gives you like a questioning thought after the movie, like, am I a psychopath?
Yeah, and they've never done that before with Batman.
No, they haven't.
He's just this, like, he's almost this symbol of perfection.
Exactly.
And it's so good to see that this is a fundamentally flawed human being. I love it. I think we've talked enough about Batman and Paul Dano's Riddler. Let's just briefly talk about Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman.
Yes, definitely.
Perfect Catwoman. Best Catwoman yet.
Again, and because like this is probably the first Catwoman where her costume is like barely anything. Like it's just like a burglar mask, doesn't even go on over her face, and just
that kind
costume.
of explains a lot of the vibe of this movie, where it's
Exactly.
like, since it's early days, but it's not an origin story. You're seeing characters at just like a point in their lives where it's like the trajectory is that they'll get there.
Exactly.
But they're not yet. So this version of Catwoman is a thief, wears like a motorcycle suit essentially, and has like a little balaclava kind of mask thingy that kind of resembles cat ears. But she's not the Catwoman you'd know.
She just owns cats, and that's it. That's all she associates with being like a cat woman.
Yeah. But she is fantastic.
She's great.
Her and Robert Pattinson are just insanely good actors in this.
Oh my god!
They do their roles so well. It's just.
I also liked as well that just Anne Hathaway's Catwoman
in Dark Knight Rises.
It wasn't like she was tied in to the main storyline, but not as much.
No,
as this Catwoman.
Every character in this movie has a purpose.
Exactly.
They're there for a reason.
Exactly.
And they satisfy their reason, and it's amazing.
Exactly. And like that's why I felt like when all these characters were on screen, I was like, it just felt right. It felt like
it always felt right.
Yeah, it was. This film was just written so well and constructed so well and directed. Matt Reeves did an amazing job.
We should mention, we'll get back to some of the other characters, but we should mention cinematography. Best cinematography in a superhero movie ever. It is
amazing,
beautiful.
Amazing.
Every shot. They do these macro shots. They do these like wide shots. And the Batmobile chase, the fight scenes, everything is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
The colors. The thing is, all of the posters for this movie were like this red, like the Batman was all red.
Yeah.
And it's such a good aesthetic. And I was like, well, we're not going to see that much red in the movie, but the movie's basked in this red. Like there are so many different scenes with that bright red illuminating everything.
And
it
also like it perfectly paints the picture of like just being introduced to this city of Gotham without necessarily being there for too long. Like it just perfectly the club that they went into,
the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah, exactly. Like they went into these like dingy clubs. Well, it wasn't dingy to begin with, but like
the outside area, like where the train is.
Just all the nighttime areas just felt amazing. Like compared again, because I'm all comparing this to I mean the Gothams that we've seen.
The Gotham of Tim Burton's Batman world is the Gotham that is like most recognizable as Gotham City. It's got this gothic architecture. It feels very depressing. It feels very sinister, right?
Yeah.
Then you get Christopher Nolan's Gotham, and in Batman Begins, it feels very dirty and grimy.
Yeah.
And then after that, it feels like any city in America.
Feels like Chicago.
Feels like a little bit of Chicago.
Feels like a bit of Chicago.
Yeah. But this Gotham, feels like an other world.
Literally.
City. The Times Square kind of vibe is sick.
It's whack as hell. But I love it.
And all the corners you see, it feels very dark and moody. And the thing is, it's always raining. But I realized in the movie Seven,
it's always
raining when it's outside. So it was a stylistic choice to have.
And it's not just like raining, like pitter patting. It's fucking it's like if you have anything you're wearing is destroyed.
To be fair, this movie takes place over a week or so.
True, yeah.
And so
it
could rain for a week straight, right?
Yeah.
So
I love how people give that criticism, like, was it always raining too much?
Like, fuck off. Like, it was a stylistic choice and it worked for the movie.
Exactly. Like, if it's over a month or some shit and it's like raining a lot, like, I'm trying to think of movies where it rains a lot, and other than Seven, or movies with rain in the title.
A good example is that it always rains at a funeral in a movie.
That's true.
That's ridiculous, right?
Well, they had a fucking funeral indoors, didn't they? So they already, thought about that.
And you know what? It was sunny during that scene.
It was. It was clear as day. It was clear as fucking day.
Okay, quickly, 2 more characters. Penguin, what do you think?
Amazing.
Fucking Colin Farrell?
Yeah, wait. Well,
Colin Farrell or
look up
Colin
his,
Firth? I'm going to get this wrong. I think it's Colin
name.
Farrell. He's...
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. He is unrecognizable as the Penguin.
Literally, I didn't even realize it was him until the fucking end of the film.
He nails it, and he's almost there as a comic relief.
He is,
and he's so funny. Like for as dark and depressing as this movie is, he is the source of so much entertainment.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Like, again, because this is spoiler free. Like, just he encapsulates this, like, this Penguin character, because I only remember the Penguin from the Lego Batman.
Oh, right. What about Batman Returns? Danny DeVito?
No.
All right.
I don't, again, I did watch that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't, big enough in my small little...
His version of Penguin was very
head.
different to what Penguin is supposed to be.
Was he? Yeah, he was smoking cigars a lot, wasn't he? He was like...
No. Tim Burton's version of the Penguin was this horribly disfigured man with a giant nose and flippers for hands and shit, and he ran for mayor, but he didn't smoke cigars. I think he did have a few umbrellas and shit, but he wasn't recognizable as like the classic Penguin.
I see.
But I see what you're saying with like the Lego. Are you talking about the games in the movie?
The games, where he just had a submarine. It came out from the fucking bottom. But just this arch nemesis that were just
this crime boss, right?
He was a huge mafia boss, but he also just was kind of like the Crocodile, who is also another Batman villain, right? There's Crocodile,
there's Killer Croc.
Killer Croc, that's right, yeah. Who just came from beneath and was part of this inner family.
Is this the first Lego Batman game?
I think so. But I just remember this. Yeah, this fat, always in the top hat.
Yeah,
and the suit,
the monocle, the umbrella, all of that. Yeah. So this version of the Penguin doesn't have those attributes, but feels authentic to that vibe.
Oh, exactly. They only mentioned that he's the Penguin once.
Yeah,
and then since then you
well, he never calls himself the Penguin. Right?
No, he doesn't.
People call him the Penguin,
and that's what I like. Because no one, you wouldn't fucking call yourself the Penguin if you look like that.
It's funny because he doesn't have an umbrella or cigars or a monocle. No, but he has that vibe.
Oh yeah, he just has that modernistic look. Yeah, okay, this is a person that probably exists in this seat of power,
brought into a modern age, and that's what I love about this movie, and especially the Riddler. This version of the Riddler is very real. To today.
Oh yeah.
To what's happening specifically in the United States, this character could exist in the real world, and that is terrifying.
Exactly.
So I would say more than Heath Ledger's Joker, the Riddler's the most terrifying villain yet.
Oh, 100%. Because he, the emphasis on, again, I fucking love saying emphasis, but just how all the Riddler has is his head.
Yeah.
That I like that's all he has.
Yeah.
Because
Batman. We'll talk about it in spoilers, but there's such a good moment about it.
Exactly right. But Batman's all rounder. He's huge. He's also quite he's quite intelligent.
And it's interesting for a character that's so big and is used to fight scenes.
Yeah.
To have a villain that he can't punch.
Exactly.
It's so good.
Oh, it's
so different.
That's exactly what the people making this thought of. It's fucking, because he's got to appeal to the people that he actually serves, which is the people of Gotham. Yeah. He can't just break every bone in this man's body, because that's you're gonna get in trouble for that. And the Riddler's obviously thought about this, and that's why it makes this villain so crucial and so well done.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last character, Jim Gordon. What did you think?
Quite good. Honestly, I think he was cast quite well, and again, like our Gordons, like in the past, have been like they
You know what?
too.
I said this to my girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was like, I really like this version of Jim Gordon. And I was like, yeah, the reason is because this is a detective story. You know, you have Batman and Jim Gordon working on a case together for the first time.
That's true.
Whereas Gordon's role in the previous movies is just bring the police.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
That is true. Batman would be like, we need backup, and then Gordon would be like, okay,
I got it. I'll call my police friends.
Yeah, you're right. You're actually very right.
So it was again refreshing, like to have a version of Gordon that interacts with Batman on a case together.
These Jim is the only person protecting him from the GCPD. He's the only person that is like, I vouch for this guy.
Yeah.
And even when there was a scene where, he was just like, look up, I want you to punch me and just get out of it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And every single other cop is, kind of against it. But I did enjoy these scenes where Batman would literally be surrounded by cops, in this crime scene.
And
Jim.
it feels so out of place, but
it does.
Jim Gordon would feel like we're partners.
Exactly. But I did again, that would, just show kind of and reflect how crazy this whole Batman thing is.
It is.
Because
we'd see such a silly concept.
Exactly. We'd see Robert Pattinson in his fucking full gear.
Yeah.
Just in a crime scene, with cops just acting normal,
and all the cops are like, what the fuck is wrong with this
they'd be
guy?
calling him freak and shit. Yeah. We'd be like, yeah, he kind of is a freak.
He's a fucking freak, It's so good.
Yeah. But then seeing some scenes where he just pummels the shit out of some bad guys, you're just like, oh.
This movie is so complex. I love it. I truly love it for that. And the last thing I want to end on in the spoiler-free section is the score in this movie is insanely good.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna say it, right? There have been two amazing Batman themes, right? The Danny Elfman theme, the dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
that's a iconic Batman theme.
Oh man!
And then also the dun 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 from the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah, that's also great,
amazing.
But this thing,
I think, who was comparing it? It's very close to
the Imperial March
theme, but it's just one or two keys off, and it fucking is amazing.
I don't think of it as copying it though.
No,
I think it's inspired by it.
Yes. No, I don't. I don't think it's just ripping it out and being like, look, we're changing one key.
Yeah.
No, this is definitely every time it plays, you're like,
yeah.
It feels,
It's such a good theme. It comes up so often in the movie, and just the rest of the music throughout as well. There are
it's very symbolic. All the soundtrack is very it's not just some random shit that's been playing.
No, there's a few pop songs from the 90s that play, and they've got a reason for playing. And as well, Riddler's theme is, and we can't talk about it, but Riddler's theme is great, and you'll understand why. Hopefully you'll pick it up at the end why it's so good.
It's great.
And yes, it's all around, right? And here's what I'd say. This movie is so well executed and is such a complex idea, but there are elements that don't work, and I can't explain why until we get into spoilers.
Yeah.
So my end review is this is an amazingly flawed movie. It's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Again, just sitting there in the cinema, and especially the beginning of it, and I think up until the chase scene, and then I think it only started in the last half an hour when I was like, okay, time to wrap it up.
Yeah. Yes, we didn't talk about that. The movie is 3 hours long.
It's 3 hours, but
and I would say the first 2 hours. Amazing. Oh my god, you don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, you don't skip a beat. You're like, shit, I want this to keep going. I want it to keep going.
And then in its final hour, it kind of gets to a point where you're a bit like, oh, they're kind of stumbling a bit here. It's a bit long now.
But that's what I mean. For the first for that first 2 hours,
yeah,
I'd probably say it's almost the top 3 best movies I've ever seen.
Oh, it is
in the past 2 years.
insane.
Honestly, it's amazing.
So would you get 9 or 10? 9.5 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
A solid 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both think it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Before we get into spoilers, we're going to take a bit of a beer break. Can you get me a beer out of the fridge,
That's
please?
literally what I was going to propose because he doesn't have a beer in front of him.
Yes,
But yeah.
we're taking a beer break. I'll keep you preoccupied, folks. In this episode, we're also going to talk about the hit TV show Peacemaker, as well as the Book of Boba Fett, because we have been meaning to talk about them and haven't had the time. And now we do. Well, we don't really have the time. We're just going to make this an extra fucking long episode of the podcast, because why not? But yeah, those were our thoughts on the Batman. And here's Lucas with a beer.
Hi, I'm Lucas with a beer. Brought to you by beer. All right.
Can you close my fucking fridge, please? Jesus.
Sorry, I just thought it was a bit warm in here. I just wanted to,
Cool it down a bit?
cool it down.
Fuck you.
And see how, big your power bill
Yeah.
is. But yeah.
Well, let's talk about spoilers. The first thing I want to talk about, and the thing I love most about this movie, is the fact that Batman fucks up so much. And I
Yes.
love it. So firstly, right,
What was his first fuck up?
I think his first fuck up, well, like in more broadly in a lot of the fight scenes, they're so brutal, and he gets hit a lot.
He does.
He gets shot a lot.
He gets fucking he doesn't get hit a lot. He gets hit around. You know what I mean? Like he gets hit to a point where, like, if you're in a fight, especially when you're in a fight, I doubt most people have been in a fight.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a fight, but if you've been hit around that much, your brain's going to be scrambled.
Exactly.
It's going to be
And
scrambled eggs.
I like that. That this is a character again who's a human, right? If he's actually in a fight, he might fuck up a few shots and get punched in the face pretty fucking hard, and he does. And that's so because the Batmans in past, they rarely get hit. This Batman gets fucking hit. His cape gets pulled and he gets pulled to the ground. He gets shot a lot. He gets punched in the face.
Oh, he got shot so many times.
Yeah.
But then I like again that he was so brutal to his enemies. After you get hit a lot, your second instinct is to be like, okay, I'm gonna pull everything out of my ass, and that's what he does. He's like, what else do I have? He's got the taser. He's gonna tase some shit.
Yes.
He's gonna tase some guy till his heart stops.
This movie, the best part about this fucking Batman is that his gadgets are just all over his body.
Yeah.
They're not just in his belt, they're everywhere on him, and
Yeah.
he just pulls them out willy-nilly, and it's so cool.
It is.
It's fucking
But it's not overdone though. Don't worry, it's not overdone. It's
not
like,
overdone.
oh, I'm gonna
It doesn't become a gimmick.
pull out the Batman dildo and just fuck this guy in the ass.
No,
It's
no,
just
no.
like, okay,
Everything has a purpose.
I need this.
Yeah.
I need this now.
Yeah, no. So I love that, and I'd say his first proper mistake. I can't tell whether it's in the Batmobile chase or when he jumps off the GCPD. Which one happens first?
The Batmobile chase.
That happens first.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay.
Because I do remember the big fucking stack. Because he does
well,
a huge
We'll
stack.
talk about the
Yeah,
Batmobile
we'll
chase first. If that happens first, then it's this epic scene, right?
Okay.
With the Batmobile, he's fucking revving it. Flames are pouring out the side.
the
lights
subs
turn on.
So the subs in the cinema were just rumbling. It felt like there was a when rocks fall off a fucking mountain and it just shakes the ground. It felt like that.
You're getting so into it, and then he fucking stalls the car.
Yeah, I remember.
Because he goes, oh, fuck, and then the car, it's about to take off and it doesn't, and you realize he stalled it, and it's like, that's so funny, because he's just a guy.
Exactly.
He's just a guy.
He's just
he
a
can
man.
stall too, and I loved that. I loved it so. I thought it was so funny and so human.
I was so full of excitement. I didn't even realize that. I honestly didn't even realize.
Because the car literally, because you might be, if you don't know much about cars, you might be a bit confused because it takes off a bit and then stops, and you'd be like, well, why didn't he just keep driving? It's because he stalled it, and it's so funny.
But that scene is insane. It is absolutely insane.
This best Batmobile chase yet.
I think so. I honestly think so, because it is compared to, again, Christian Bale's Batmobile, where it was literally just a fucking tank.
It was a tank, but the way they used it in that movie was it had a specialized purpose. It went up this car park, right? Then jumped onto another roof.
Yeah.
And was riding along the roof and then went on the highway. It's very It was like purpose built.
it was purpose built, and it was also a bit like this is obviously a superhero film.
Yeah.
Whereas this felt more like a lot more
a guy
plausible.
in a fucking car.
This is a guy
Like-
in a car that has fuck off good suspension.
Yeah.
I guess like a
Giant
turbine engine or some shit.
I think it's like one of those situations where it's two V8s, so it's like a W16.
Oh wow!
Like,
okay, yeah.
The
like a
car
Mad Max,
sounded
how
so
there's just
good.
like-
Yeah.
Oh, it sounded amazing.
And it felt like tough as well. It felt big.
Exactly,
But not in
yeah.
a way that it's like a tank. It's just a really armored car that could just fucking plow down anything.
like one of those like trophy trucks, if you know what they are. They're just like they can take such a hit. They can go off, huge jumps and just take such a hit, but they can also crash and burn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
it's
the thing
perfect.
I loved about this Batmobile chase was just like the rain is pouring down. He's sliding and driving so aggressively all over the place. He's not like driving with precision. He's angry. He's fucking angry. And that's the biggest thing about this Batman
yeah.
is he's so angry. And then the Penguin successfully like gets trucks to flip and he's like, oh fuck. And he's like trying to time it right to do a jump over it. And it's a little bit of like, it's a movie. But it's such a sick scene.
It
Where
is
like,
such a sick
where
scene.
like there's a like a truck that carries cars or whatever. What are they called?
Yeah, or just
Like a car
truck,
carrier.
but it has that ramp.
It has
on
a ramp and
Yeah.
it just falls at the right time and he fucking floors it.
Yeah,
It's just sick. Like
it's so good. And I think everyone, if you've seen the trailer for the movie, you've seen
it.
this.
and Colin Farrell's Penguin going like, I got you.
But he also remarks in the chase before that happens. He's like, this guy's this guy's fucking insane.
yeah.
And you feel that you're like, he's in a chase. He's driving away at speeds. And this guy's just fucking, after
Plowing
him.
into
He's-
shit.
Yeah, he's
Like,
after him.
he does
has
not care. It's so cool.
It is really cool. It's like it reminds me of like if I ever get in like a road rage accident and like there's just one guy's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking drive off, and you're just after them. You don't even give a shit about the people around you, which is bad, but you're just after
It
them.
makes sense because Batman would be a very like angry character.
Oh yeah, he's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He doesn't know like the humanitarian.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like
But he loves it.
he loves it.
Okay, the next mistake he makes, flying off the GCPD. This is my favorite scene in the
wait. So
fucking
this
movie.
is for reference. This is like what 40 floors up, 50 floors up. How like?
Oh right, yeah. It's like a it's like a police precinct building.
And there's got a big clock tower.
Yeah, it's like very gothic, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. So he's getting chased by the GCPD in the building, and the thing I love about it is it's just a guy in a suit running, like
from
it's so real.
from fucking 50 cops.
Yeah.
Like every way he turns like one way, and he goes down a bit of the wrong corridor, and there's like 10
Police
10
everywhere.
police
And
that
so-
just are and it's not like they're just chasing him. They hate him.
Yeah, they're
they
ready.
despise him. They're like,
Yeah.
you're doing my fucking job.
Yeah.
Like they are just they want to kill this man.
Yeah.
Honestly, and like I love that.
I loved it. It like
They're all out for his blood.
and because again, it's not this Batman that's perfect. Like you think at this point, like he could get caught. Like
He could, yeah.
like the stakes in this movie feel so real. Like they feel like he's
Yeah.
not gonna win this.
It
necessarily.
doesn't feel like, again, pointing back to Christian Bale's films where like I think the police chief was like, oh, like a mouse in a trap,
Yeah.
and then he pops out with his the flying fucking thing.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And they're like, oh, I think that's the wrong kind of
Dark
mouse.
Knight Rises,
You know-
he gets chased by the police
Exactly,
as well.
exactly. But
And
it doesn't
you-
feel like any tension.
You don't think he's going to get caught?
No.
Whereas in this, he very well could.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then, Robert Pattinson grapples up, and I love that his grappling hook is just like, comes out of his wrist.
Yeah.
It's sick. Anyway, he grapples up, and he gets onto like the top of a gargoyle or something, right? And typically, Batman hasn't been portrayed as being scared of heights. He's just always on gargoyles on like fucking giant
Yeah.
buildings.
It's like
This
fucking
Batman,
there.
he gets on top of it, and he's like, oh fuck, like he has this
He
moment
loses his footing a bit. He's
he's like, oh,
shit.
I'm really high up,
Yeah.
like, oh shit, and then he pulls himself together, and then I love that like his suit is like this fucking
It's just
gadget.
adaptable.
And
yeah.
he pulls this lever and it turns into a wingsuit. It's sick.
Like, you notice it because, like, he pulls it and then all this cloth just kind of comes out. Like, it's obviously not
It's like-
just his cape.
Yeah.
Like, he feels like the cape just kind of extends and then, like, comes over him
And
a
it's
bit.
a wingsuit. It's a proper
yeah, exactly.
wingsuit.
And then he uses it.
Yeah.
And he smacks himself into the side.
I love it
it's
so
good.
much. The fact that this Batman feels like a thrill seeker, right? So it's like he's doing this gliding throughout the city and he's like kind of playing chicken where it's like, I'm going to time this right. I can pull it right at the last second.
you're
and
right.
He's like
you're right.
enjoying it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got this perfect. Pulls it and gets clocked in the
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah, so the parachute just, like, comes out.
Yeah.
And as it's coming out, as it's deploying, it gets stuck
Caught
on
in
the
the bridge.
fucking the bridge. So it just barely does pull. It just rips off. I'm pretty sure. And like
he fucking lands so hard.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And it's this fact that this guy is just a guy in a
he's just a
suit.
dude.
Like,
Because
he's
then when he
just a
lands,
dude.
he's like he can barely. You can see he can barely pick himself up.
Yeah.
You know he wants to get up.
Yeah.
But like he's just holding his fucking stomach. Like I've at least broken 5 ribs and like
And
a fucking few vertebrae.
I loved it. I
it's great.
loved it so much.
was
It's just
really
so refreshing to see a superhero that's really not that good. Like he's great, right? But he makes so many mistakes. And the biggest mistake, the most fundamental mistake he makes.
The best. I honestly had the most fun with this mistake.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So he's he's the world's greatest detective, or he's supposed to be,
Yes.
right? And the way it's done in the movie is so good. So they find the Riddler, they find his house, and he's investigating Riddler's house, and he realizes that the Riddler might have discovered that Bruce Wayne is Batman because he has this wall covered of like filled with evidence, and there's pictures of Bruce Wayne right next to pictures of Batman, and Batman's like, oh shit, maybe he knows, like maybe he knows Bruce Wayne is Batman. Maybe this is the end of the Batman. And so he gets scared and he tells Gordon, he's like, I think I'm the next target. Because at this point in the movie, Bruce Wayne's already been a target. So he's trying to make them think that Bruce Wayne isn't Batman. So he's going, oh, I think I'm the next target. So they go, oh, all right, okay. So then he leaves, right? And then he goes to talk to the Riddler in person, and the Riddler makes it clear that there's a bit left in his plan. There's a tiny bit left in his plan. Actually, probably a big bit left in the plan.
Well, the whole plan
Yeah.
is like still yet to come, and that's what I love about all these scenes with all the villains. They're sitting there in their fucking jail cell, and they're like, "This shit's not over.
Yeah.
This party's not fucking. This party barely has fucking begun."
And then so Batman realizes he missed something. How could the world's greatest detective miss something? But it's because he had to yeet out of there because he was scared he'd find out that Bruce Wayne's Batman. So he comes back and he's investigating, and there's a policeman there who tells him that the tool that Riddler used in the first murder is like something to use to like pull up
carpentry
carpet.
tool.
Yeah, it's a carpentry tool. So then he's like, oh fuck, I've got this. He does it and he uncovers
He fucking goes in the floor under the carpet. Yeah.
that Riddler's last plan is to flood the city, and the Riddler wins. Batman fucked up. He didn't catch that, and now the city is flooded. Probably hundreds of thousands of people dead because Batman didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And it's this, like in The Dark Knight, the Joker does win in a way because
In a way.
he proves that anyone isn't that far away from turning to a bad guy, proven by Harvey Dent, right? So he kind of wins, but he doesn't win in the sense that there's not huge consequences.
That's true. That is true. Like, there's no like, again, with the fairies at the end of that film.
He's
You know,
proven
they
wrong.
don't- They don't die.
Yeah.
Whereas in this film, I feel like the fairies do fucking die. They blow up and more. We see this huge, like, it's almost like a tidal wave through a fucking, through...
Which is interesting. The design of this city is such that it is kind of sunken and they've got these seawalls around it, which obviously was set up for this purpose to flood the city.
Because I don't think that would honestly be a fucking...
Like seawalls do exist, but I don't think it's in the...
But not around a city?
Yeah.
Like to for more a coastal...
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember... because they did break somewhere in Europe. There was just like a 2 or 3.
Yeah, sure.
On a coast, right? Just on a coast, but not around something.
Not like a city that is literally
lower, comparable to New York.
Because it's literally like the sea level's there, and then the city sunk below that, and there's a wall. Yeah. So for a movie that is so realistic, I did while watching the movie, I was a bit like,
motherfucker.
It's like, I'll take it.
What the fuck?
I'll take it.
Yeah.
But it's a bit,
Oh, well. But, I mean, again, it happens. And I was like, oh, shit. At first, I was kind of like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. Because, I mean,
it's different.
We have seen what Bane does. He just blows a lot of shit up.
He
all the bridges,
around,
he creates a prison. I kind of like that. But this was a bit different in that, you just fucking killed a lot of
this
people.
kind of has some permanent consequences. This city's, it's really hard to fix that.
It is.
That's long lasting.
A lot of water, you're, speaking of Brisbane, just being there in the weekend, it's been taking ages.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many people just...
Lucas went to Brisbane.
Yeah.
Very similar situation to Gotham in this movie.
Exactly. But I mean, I think it was 1,000 people's homes have just been gone. 1,000 people. But imagine being those 1,000 people, your house is just gone.
Yeah. And that's Gotham.
This is 50,000 people at least.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, we've described all of Batman's mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that's something unique to this movie.
Exactly.
No movie with a human superhero has ever done this before.
Well, so in The Dark Knight, I feel like Christian Bale makes one mistake, where he can't keep up with the Joker.
Well,
sometimes.
the one mistake he makes is that he thinks he's going to Rachel, but he's going to Harvey.
No, that's fine.
Orchestrated.
That's orchestrated. But it's more to do with when Gordon gets killed, right?
He
just
doesn't
late.
get killed. He gets faked out.
I know, but he's just late to that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas this is definitely fucking Robert's Batman just actually making mistakes.
And for a character, I think a traditional movie, right? It has this necessity to get a character from nothing to complete in a single movie. Mm-hmm. Whereas this movie picks up some way along the journey and takes it a bit further.
It's
true.
Not that full way. Exactly. It is not that true character arc of this man is finished. This man is distinguished as fuck.
One of the things I loved about this movie, he starts off this movie and his mission is vengeance, right? He's angry his parents were
vengeance,
killed, and he is vengeance.
I am vengeance.
And then he realizes he's inspired the fucking Riddler. That because he's become this symbol of fear, that there are other people who want to mimic. And we saw this in The Dark Knight, where people want to be Batman, but they want to be a hero. In this, they want to be that symbol of vengeance. And vengeance doesn't always have to be a hero.
No, vengeance can be in the other direction.
It can be a fucking serial killer or a terrorist group of serial killers.
Exactly.
A bunch of that's what I loved about the Riddler so much was that he has this he has social media, right?
He does, yeah. He's on the Twitter.
He's on the Twitter. And
the Facebooks.
He's made a group of fellow people to all get radicalized together. Mm-hmm. That's very real. I mean,
I know, yeah. When they because they had live streams of him. That was kind of fucking sick. That was when I was talking about in Uncharted how there was these catacombs were made out of a club.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, that's a bit easy to do. This was okay, this is going that step further and being this is actually happening today.
It's very real. Very real.
And how the comments were what caliber should I bring?
Yeah.
Boys. or like fucking
That-
Which Gun Lads.
That's literally happening in the US.
Literally, it's like fuck.
And they wove it into a superhero movie so genuinely.
I know, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was fucking because I mean, like I know the Joker like gets his goons from. I don't fucking know, in the Christian Bale
sure.
movies.
They're
Like,
just generic goons.
like he just got like all those goons were just so good to him because they knew that like he would just fucking kill them.
Yeah.
But like I liked that this was just a bunch of guys like I can show you how to get in this building. Bring your fucking guns and kill these people. Thank you very much.
It was so good.
God be with you. Like I love that. I honestly fucking love that because he had a social presence throughout the entire movie. And then it's explained why he has a social spread. Like, it's perfect. It's fucking perfect.
You know what's so good about this movie? Everything's set up from the start.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to rewatch this movie,
Insane.
but there are scenes. So the Penguins Club, the Iceberg Lounge, is right opposite the Riddler's apartment. And you can see him in earlier scenes watching like the characters enter and leave the Iceberg Lounge.
No way.
And you wouldn't pick up on it for the first time because
Obviously.
you're not looking for it. But they do these wide shots where there's a man in the apartment and that's the Riddler.
I mean, I have seen that in other films, like
Yeah.
I think it was Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. You know the one where they go to the Kremlin and you see because they're infiltrating.
We watched that recently. Yeah,
Exactly, yeah. They're infiltrating the Kremlin, and you see the bad guy
Yeah,
going
earlier on.
like fucking just walking in front of them, and it's
Oh,
hilarious.
I'd say it's a little bit more subtle than that in this one.
Exactly,
Right,
100%.
yeah.
But that's awesome.
But
I'm just saying, like, I really enjoy like watching on a second or third time. So it's just awesome.
And that's the thing that I think is going to be interesting with this movie. Like, I'm like, say, The Dark Knight, I rewatch yearly. Right, I always watch that movie.
110%.
Whereas, maybe like Seven or Zodiac, you kind of have to, or Prisoners.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You need to wait until you forget enough of it that you can rewatch it.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't watched Prisoners, fucking watch it. Because,
Watch Prisoners.
I mean,
You got to watch it before watching this movie.
Yeah,
it's
like,
great.
it just-
for Paul Dano's sake.
oh yeah, please fucking do because
it's so good.
It's amazing, and again, it shows you why the
Yeah.
Riddler's the Riddler. Honestly,
But that's the one thing I'm interested is, like, is this a movie that I can rewatch regularly? And it's probably not, because it's like the point of it being a detective story with these mysteries is you kind of got to forget some of them to enjoy it.
you're right. You're very right.
So I don't think this is going to be a regular rewatch. But talking about the mysteries, what did you think of the result of everything being revealed? Because I will say they hyped up the reveal in the movie a lot.
Yes. So
I don't think the reveals satisfied what was made up.
Okay.
What they were made up.
well,
to be.
it's like most video games today, as everyone knows, they're hyped the fuck up, and you love that hype so much.
Yeah.
It's like holy shit. I'm going to have the best time playing this game. It's
Yeah.
going to be amazing. And I mean, this movie, the first hour and 30 is that hype. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It is honestly the best fun. I was sitting in that cinema seat like, holy shit, my heart is racing. I'm having the best time ever. And then that's when the sloppiness, they kind of, they fumble
They fumble some of the reveals.
this reveal, and
Yeah.
because I feel like I feel like they watched the movie themselves. They're like, holy shit,
We've hyped this up a lot. We better
we
deliver.
hyped this up a lot. We've either got to let's like have something else
Yeah.
or like have some twists, and that's what they had. There's some unnecessary they fucked you around a bit, and they had some weird twists. But yeah.
So the big thing is that the rat, right?
Yes,
the rat
they
of
were
the
trying
city,
to find his rat.
because they're trying to find this rat, and they think it might be the penguin because the clue is a rat with wings.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the penguin. Turns out it's Carmine Falcone.
Yeah.
Right? Who's like a mob boss, right? And it turns out he runs the city and all of that. And look, in the context of the movie, it's a fine twist, but it's not anything that crazy. And for what it was hyped up to be, like the end result is that, you know, he's going to get arrested and then he gets shot. We don't see the ramifications, but it's assumably that, you know, crime increases because there's now this position for someone to
power
be the new...
vacuum.
Yeah. But that's not... But it was like kind of hyped up to be like, you'd be like, oh my God. And it wasn't even close to that.
You are right. Yeah. Again, with the, you know, him blowing the walls and flooding the place, I thought that was going to be like the climax. I thought that was what we were going towards. I thought, the Bruce Flam, because it did kind of not joke around, but kind of touch on the Bruce family, the Wayne family. So the Wayne legacy wasn't as tip top as people had thought.
So there are two things: that Thomas Wayne was running for mayor, which I just want to quickly, as an aside, right? This movie could have easily connected to Joker, and they chose not to, and I think it's just a missed opportunity.
Wait, what? How could?
Because in Joker, right, the Waynes are running for mayor, right? Yeah. Thomas Wayne's running for mayor, and then, you know, they die at the hands of the Joker gang at the end of the movie or whatever. And in that world, it's very realistic. You know, kind of like this movie, like it's got that realism to it. So, and in this movie, Thomas Wayne's also running for mayor, right? And you know, of course, dies. And it's just like, that would have been easy to have the same Waynes and like...
it doesn't say they don't, or like...
the director has said that it doesn't connect, but it's just one of those things that, like, you know, Marvel's been so good at connecting things, and DC's been pretty rubbish at it. If this is supposed to kickstart something else, well, maybe it could have connected to Joker, because it wouldn't have been that hard to do.
That's true.
And you don't even necessarily need Joaquin Phoenix to come back. It's just like, I don't know.
But that's what people want.
Yeah, I know.
The people want.
I don't. We want DC to do movies.
Joaquin Phoenix. We want him back.
We do want him back. He's by far the best Joker, like, currently. But yeah. Anyway, that was aside. So the main thing you uncover two things about the Waynes. Firstly, that Thomas Wayne had some dirt, and some reporter was gonna tell
forensics. Isn't he a forensic, like, agent or some shit?
I can't remember, but it was something like Thomas Wayne did something dodgy, and then the news reporters were going to report on it. He tried to pay them out, they didn't, so he went to Falcone, and Falcone killed them. And then so Thomas Wayne was like, I didn't tell you to kill them. And then either he was killed by Falcone or he was killed by the rivals, the Maronis. Anyway, something like that. And then on his mother's side, so there are two famous families in Gotham, the Waynes and the Arkhams. The Arkhams you'll know from Arkham Asylum. They're the ones that deal with the mentally ill. But in this weird world where they deal with the mentally ill, they are also mentally ill. So Martha...
And mentally fucking rich.
Yeah. So Martha Wayne, Bruce's mom, was actually Martha Arkham and was mentally ill. And then... Oh, that's what it was. So Martha Wayne, who is Martha Arkham, who's mentally ill, was in and out of mental institutions, well, probably Arkham Asylum. And then reporters found out about it. Thomas Wayne didn't want that to get out. So Thomas Wayne hired Falcone to get rid of the news reporter. That ended by Falcone killing the news reporter. Thomas Wayne didn't want that to happen. And then Falcone likely killed Thomas Wayne. That's kind of the events that unfold. So that's what's revealed. It's this messy crime family drama. And Martha Wayne's actually mentally ill, and Thomas Wayne's not all that good, but he kind of is. Like Bruce goes to Falcone and to try to uncover the truth, and then he gets told a version of the truth. He then goes to Alfred, who tells him another version of the truth. All of this,
we get all these versions, and it's kind of like you're
it's
almost
just messy.
I mean, yeah, you're messy. It's messy because you're almost in. I mean, it's good because you're in the fucking shoes of Bruce Wayne of like, who the fuck do I trust? Yeah. Like that's what I felt. I was like, who do I trust?
Yeah.
any of these people could have murdered my fucking dad and mum. Like Alfred, for all I knew, could have murdered them because of all the versions of stories I've fucking heard.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but at the same time, I was like, where is this going to go? And then it went where it went. And I was like, okay, like, great.
It's just like what they come up with, right? You know, Thomas Wayne not being that good of a person.
Yeah.
Martha Wayne being mentally ill. There's stuff that they could have revealed that in a way that was more interesting than what happened.
Yeah, you're right.
They did it in a way that was so clunky that I wasn't sure what was necessarily happening, and then it didn't feel that satisfying. Along with the reveal that Falcone's the kind of the rat and the center of all of this, it just the whole mystery surrounding this movie. They were hyped up so much and they didn't pay off.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And that's so when I was in my non-spoiler review, that's my biggest criticism of the movie is that the reveals don't pay off. Yes,
100%. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what else I can add to this film.
I would say Batman's character arc in this movie is the best Batman character arc yet.
Yeah.
Right. So he goes from this I'm vengeance, right? He realizes that he's inspired the Riddler and people like the Riddler to become vengeance. He realizes that maybe he was wrong. Maybe, this one-man mission to live up to his parents' legacy by the fact that his parents, died at the face of crime, his one-man pursuit of stopping crime by being fear, maybe that's wrong. And we see at the end of the movie, he becomes an actual hero.
He does.
He saves people. He becomes, and I said this in this non-spoiler review, Batman can be portrayed as a symbol of hope or a symbol of fear. Start of the movie is a symbol of fear.
Yep.
End of the movie is a symbol of hope.
But yeah, I agree.
Because
it showed quite well. It's very beautiful. He saves these people like trapped in this flood. And
even though really it's all his fault because he could have stopped it sooner.
Like at the same time, I wasn't like fucking.
It's because and that's the thing. The movie is so well done in terms of how complicated it is. It's like he could have, but he can't because of all these different factors at play.
He could have, but like at the same time, I don't think when you're watching it for the first time, you're not smart enough to be like, oh, you could have stopped it. But like, I do like how it is all because again, The Dark Knight is like a bit.
The Dark Knight,
like everything happens so quickly that it's just like a bit questionable.
I will say, right, The Dark Knight, I think is almost a perfect movie. This, having seen the Batman, it makes me question a lot of The Dark Knight in terms of
exactly
how simple and clean it is.
Exactly. The joke was that fucking good at, organizing and just fucking knowing that, this will take this cop like an hour to realize that I'm bullshitting or something.
But also the Batman in that movie was also so good at
he was amazing.
Keeping up.
He was he was one step behind at least.
Yeah.
Whereas in this circumstance,
the Batman's so far behind in this movie.
Yeah.
I will say as well, the riddles in this movie are actually really good. Like they're not like they're kind of tough, but then when the answers are revealed, you're like, you could get. And you know what I loved the most about this version of the Riddler being the serial killer. He wasn't just a serial killer. He was like Saw.
He was. He fucking was. He literally, like, that's exactly what I felt. Because in previous Riddlers, I guess, he would
just Jim Carrey once the other one.
Yeah, he'd just have someone hostage, wouldn't he? And he'd just have a gun. And he'd be like, I'm going to tell you a riddle. If you don't guess it, I'll fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Like,
the College Humor.
Yes,
Batman
that's
sketches.
Exactly the one I'm thinking about. Or he just has a gun. He's trying to guess a bullet, and Batman's just too retarded to. But in this one, he had some contraptions and shit going on.
Yeah. Showing his hyper intelligence that he could put these contraptions together.
Exactly. Like, and then there was this funny part at the end where, where he's on his live stream. He's like, "Hey guys, thank you so much for teaching me how to do the detonators." That was really,
And I love that he built this community and it felt so
of 500
real.
people, and he's like, "Thanks
so
guys
real.
so much for helping me with the detonators, so I can fucking commit a terrorist fucking act." I love that. I absolutely love that.
The other thing with the Riddler was okay, do you think, because it leaves it open-ended, do you think that the Riddler knows Batman's identity and is just toying with him, or actually doesn't?
I think he definitely does. I think he 100% does. Like 110%.
So in the interrogation scene, he's like, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne. And you can see, and Rob Pattinson plays it so well. You can see him just being like, I don't know what to fucking do right now. But then he plays it off being like, it was the one guy we didn't get, right? It was the one guy we didn't get. So then he gets this sense of, oh, okay, he doesn't know. But maybe he does. Because the Riddler would toy with him, right?
Exactly. Maybe, yeah.
Because given Riddler's wall where Bruce Wayne and Batman are right next to each other, surely he's figured it out and is just toying with him in that scene, being like, he was the one we didn't get, right? Because he would know, right? That why didn't Bruce Wayne die? Oh, because he's Batman and he was driving the Batmobile at the time. Surely the Riddler's smart enough in this movie. You know what I mean?
I agree. I honestly think he is. I honestly think, again, like when he's doing that Bruce Wayne scene, I definitely thought he knew.
Yeah. And he's just toying with him.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, again, I think if there is a next movie, they're blowing up the Wayne Manor.
So that's an interesting point about this movie. So the Batcave. Okay, let's start from the start. Wayne Manor, before Thomas and Martha were killed, was turned into an orphanage. That's a little ironic. It's a little ironic. I will just say that it's a little neat that Thomas and Martha Wayne built an orphanage and then died and left an orphan.
Yeah.
It's just... Anyway.
We're going to die soon.
We'll take
an orphanage.
Because in the Dark Knight Rises, Bruce turns it into an orphanage.
That's true.
But that's at the end, not at the start.
Exactly.
Anyway, so in this world, Wayne Manor is turned into an orphanage, which the Riddler went to. Bruce and his parents live in Wayne Tower and a penthouse. And then his parents die and he just lives in Wayne Tower by himself.
No, again, it's
a nice different change.
Right? I know, but again, that's what solidifies me on knowing that the Riddler knows Bruce is Batman, is because he's like, oh, poor Bruce.
Yeah.
Because he's carrying on about Bruce being so sad when in actual fact the Riddler was he had nothing. He had nothing.
I really liked that. This movie does a good job of explaining why Batman and Bruce Wayne don't make any sense. The fact that this man is so traumatized from being an orphan, yet he's a billionaire. Exactly. He's fine. He's set for life no matter what. Exactly. He's not a true orphan. No. And the Riddler in this movie is an orphan.
Exactly.
And he literally calls Batman out on it. It's like, you're not a fucking orphan. Right? You've had... you in your ivory tower, you cannot be an orphan. And that's so refreshing to understand that, Bruce Wayne turned into Batman from the result of becoming an orphan. But there are millions of other people that don't have the resources or the means to do that. You're so fortunate that you could do this.
Fuck 'em.
It's so smart.
Fuck 'em.
So, yeah, I loved... And again, this goes back to the fact that Batman and Riddler are the two sides of the same coin. Both orphans, both are vengeance. Batman inspired the Riddler.
Oh yeah.
And the Riddler, it's so good how the Riddler genuinely believes that he's not directing Batman. He thinks he's in a team with Batman, right? Sure, the Riddler's leading Batman on.
Yes, but he's also kind of playing with him
Yeah.
almost and be like, fuck yeah, let's go. The boys.
We're doing this together. We're vengeance, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And then when Batman's like, rejects it and Riddler freaks out, he's like, oh, wait, what?
He's like, you had this all planned out.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, we're supposed to do this together. And it's so good. Like
that was actually, that
because it's not
makes more sense to me now that I'm like reacting to it, if that makes sense.
in a typical superhero, movie. It's like the villain's like,
a psychopath.
We're two sides of the same coin, and then the hero goes, "No, we're not," and the villain's like, "Oh, yes, we are." But in this, Riddler's like, "Yeah, we're a team," and Batman's like, "No, we're not," and Riddler's like, "What?"
He fucking goes insane. He literally starts screaming. And you think, honestly, as an audience, you think, oh, he's just being insane.
No,
but reacting on this, you're like,
he genuinely thought they were a team. And he starts singing, what's it, Ave Maria?
Yeah.
Which is Riddler's theme song. Yeah. It's
the Hitman theme song as well.
But it was in this lower register. And going back to the score, and the one thing I didn't want to say about the score, the fact that Riddler's theme is Ave Maria, and then he said, it's just genius.
It's genius. It's so good.
Genius. Do you have anything else? Otherwise, there's one more thing I would add.
We haven't talked about Catwoman too much, have we?
Okay. True. So, Catwoman individually is the best Catwoman we've seen yet.
I agree.
However, she has no chemistry with Robert Pattinson.
Yes, that's what I did want to talk about.
No sparks. No love.
I kind of did like that though, because again, Robert wasn't showing her anything. You know what I mean? Like it was because she was definitely unmasked to him.
Yeah,
but he wasn't to her, and I that made sense that there was no spark.
Because the thing was the kiss happened halfway through the movie, and then they don't kiss again.
That's true.
And
I think she was just doing that to what?
I think you've hit the nail on the head with the fact that I think the issue with the chemistry and the love dynamic is that Batman's not giving much in it.
Exactly. Because he's still in his character, whereas I feel like it worked in The Dark Knight Rises, and then the big backstab was because they were both unmasked. They were both, they
on the same page.
Exactly. And that's why you're like, oh, I like this relationship. And then, that fucking backstab, I mean, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, I felt like the Catwoman, she was great. Again, she was detrimental to the story.
Yeah.
She fucking...
She gave a lot of leads.
She gave a lot of leads.
Batman had to use her to get into the Iceberg Lounge.
Exactly. But she was also, she also had, a big part in the story and was just Falcone's my father, and she had her own redemption arc. Well, not redemption arc, just I want to kill this guy because he fucked my life up. And it's all right, sweet. And, she was, a bit more closer, to the plot that Batman was, and Batman kind of just latched onto her. It was all right, sweet. Show me what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then, she kind of had the same skill set as Batman, was being a vigilante, but for different reasons.
Yeah. And we see, because it's unclear whether or not, because I think I said this to you earlier, the only version of Batman to never kill anyone is George Clooney, excluding Adam West. So even the Dark Knight trilogy, right, where Batman is so set on his no-kill rule, he kills at the end of the Dark Knight. People often forget that. He kills Harvey Dent.
That's true.
He intentionally kills him.
He fucking killed him, boy.
And the thing that annoys me about that is because people are always like, oh, Christian Bale's Batman never killed. And it's no, the whole point of the Dark Knight's ending.
That's why it's called The Dark Knight.
Literally the last 5 minutes are all about the fact that he broke his rule. He redefined, he ruined the symbol that was Batman intentionally and had to deal with that. And that's why the last 5 minutes of that movie is so perfect.
Well, that's why
he ruined Batman.
Anyone that says that
for justice
actually hasn't fucking watched the movie.
Batman
say that,
kills in the Dark Knight.
You can just look at them and just be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
I know.
Who birthed you?
Anyway,
what person did you?
And Tim Burton's Batman, right? Michael Keaton's Batman just just fucking murders people. Ben Affleck, right? Zack Snyder's Batman, fucking murders people.
Yeah, he throws people through fucking windows.
Yeah.
Like, and
Just
this is not.
shoots them
This
as
is
well.
yeah, he does just. He just
fucking
shoots
gun.
people. He just has a fucking gun, and his Batmobile has guns on it. And you're just like,
so this is the first Batman in a long time that doesn't kill. But during it, you're kind of questioning, oh, is this going to be a Batman that doesn't kill, or is it going to be one that does kill? And it's only through Catwoman, who's about to kill someone, that you actually see that, no, this is a Batman that doesn't kill.
again, similar to Christian Bale's, how he's like, no guns,
Yeah.
no
But
guns.
at that point, he's already killed Harvey Dent.
I know, yeah.
So, fuck you.
So he's like, I'm just making it harder for you, bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And we see in this movie, and what I love about this movie so much is the dynamic between Jim Gordon and Batman.
That's true.
They have this buddy cop dynamic that's so funny.
It is.
They've got this chemistry to them.
Good cop, batshit cop.
Yeah. And Jim Gordon said, Batman says, no guns. And Jim Gordon's like, that's your thing, man. It's like, it's funny. Like, they've got this chemistry to them. It's really good.
I think I agree with that as well.
It's really good.
Jim Gordon is great. And like, again, he does feel like the best Jim Gordon just because he gets, like, he feels, again, like Catwoman, more detrimental to Batman's cause of like, you know, he's working side by side with him. He's allowing him to get on these crime scenes and, you know, see these places, like, you know, and give him protection.
Yeah.
Whereas Jim Gordon in the earlier Batman was just like, oh, what are you doing? And he just disappeared. He only disappeared once. This whole fucking
and it was because he realized that Alfred was about to fucking die.
exactly. And again on that, he was an hour late.
That was so beautiful.
It was so well done.
Like the hero is you know, you always think of him as saving the day.
Yeah.
And this is probably another mistake I probably should have pointed out earlier.
True,
right?
I forgot about it. Yeah, but
this Batman
it was huge in the movie.
Yeah, that you think he's calling, because they film it so well. You think he's calling Alfred.
Yeah.
But that had happened an hour ago.
So,
and
yeah.
he's calling the maid or whatever.
Riddler obviously sent a bomb to kill Bruce Wayne just through the fucking mail.
Yeah.
Because you can do that.
Hey, it's Gotham City, right?
Yeah.
Anything can
And
happen.
obviously, poor Alfred picks it up. And, like, you're watching Alfred, you know, get the package and be like, I'm going to, you know, this is for the Batman. I'm going to open it. Yeah. And Robert Pattinson's character is, like, screaming in the phone, be like, pick up! He's driving so fast. And then when he finally picks up, the maid picks up and is like,
it's already happened.
That happened an hour ago.
And then he drives and he sees Wayne Tower on fire. And I'm going to be honest, the thing I loved most about this movie was this is the first superhero movie in ages where I've thought anything could happen.
Yeah, oh my God.
Anything could happen.
That's true.
Alfred could, like, why?
You were
not?
saying to me in the cinema, you're like, I expected Alfred to die.
Like, he genuinely could have. Like, this is it's like how Aunt May dies at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, and there's going to be more Spider-Man movies, right? It's like, the fact that they've done so many different Batman stories, why not do one where Alfred dies right at the start? So I was genuinely scared that they'd kill Alfred off. And again, at the end of the movie, Batman has a bad run of it, and he gets shot by a lot more people.
Oh my God, he takes so much shit.
And he's essentially dying.
And then that's another mistake as well. In the end, he's like on the floor.
He's practically
he gets a shotgun shell to the head, like not to the head, but just to the chest. He's on the ground. And then Catwoman saves him. Yeah. And then the guy that shot him just fucking decides to get back up and grabs her.
Grabs Catwoman. And I loved it because it's like, because it's the fact that this guy is just a fucking human being, and he's
just like, of course, And then so he takes an adrenaline shot, and he goes sicko mode, and he just starts fucking beating the shit. Like he literally, he like gets this man on the ground that was beating up Catwoman, and just like starts laying into him, like starts smacking him, senseless, like. And I remember just being the sim, like, let's go, let's fucking go,
fucking go on.
And everyone around him is like, just in shock, like PTSD, like, holy shit, this man is, like, this man's skull is now a fucking McChicken meal. It's just fucking squashed.
And then what's funny is like he's not dead. Thankfully,
Somehow he's not dead.
In the context of the movie, he's not dead. And then he unmasks himself, and they're like, "Who are you?" And he says, "I'm vengeance."
Yeah, and you're like, "Fuck this guy."
It's so good.
It's so
So good. This movie's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to move on because
No. How long have we been recording?
we're
for?
at 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, jeez, we've been talking about this movie for a while. There's 2 more things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
We're not talking about anything else.
Yeah, I guess.
What do you think of Bruce Wayne being an emo recluse?
Yes. So this was the other thing we were like the big. I would say con we were taking away from this movie, but like, not a huge.
When I
con.
was saying in my non-spoiler review that like this movie takes itself so seriously that there are things that you can easily make fun of. This is one of them. Having
Yes.
an emo Bruce Wayne.
So yeah, the Bruce Wayne. Every time we saw him, he just had his hair like kind of done in a way just over his face. It looked like he was in jail. Honestly,
Yeah.
like his hair was down, like he was in jail, and the next thing you'd say was like, "Who are you?" Like in that fucking 90s.
90s rock band, punk like kind of rock band.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what, and again, Nirvana plays throughout the movie.
Exactly. And you just think, oh, this is perfect.
They're going like, and to be fair, we've seen the billionaire playboy done so often. Mm-hmm. Why not? Like the whole inspiration for this version of Bruce Wayne is that he hasn't developed his Bruce Wayne persona. He's more of a recluse. He's that emo rock star kind of vibe where he's like, he's so famous, but he doesn't want any of it.
Yeah,
And
that's
and
true.
so and he's so depressed by his parents being killed that he's like emo. Mm-hmm. It makes sense.
It does, but
makes
it's 20
sense.
years.
It
20
makes sense,
goddamn
but it's
years.
easy to make fun of.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then again, it's like, it's 20 years. 20 years that your parents would be dead, right? I'd give it 5 years, right? 5 years. Because
Think about it. You've made this your whole mission.
That's true.
Like, you're so dedicated.
That is true. And your family, your parents have been murdered by, like, the city,
Yeah.
I guess. So yeah, maybe that makes sense. Like maybe you feel fucking betrayed, and maybe all the wealth that you have is from the city.
Again,
So it's like,
I think it's something that makes like it's fine. It's just like if you don't buy into it, then it's laughable.
yeah,
That's the issue with it.
that's okay. Fair enough. It is a bit laughable, but yeah, in the sense of the movie, when I was watching it, it isn't laughable at all. You kind of accept it. You're like, this is because he's so different, but at
From
the
the
same
other
time,
Bruce Waynes,
from the other Bruce Waynes, that you kind of like it. You're like, okay, I like this.
Yeah,
Bruce Wayne.
I agree. I think it's refreshing.
And he doesn't feel menacing.
Well,
Like
he's
he doesn't
not-
feel
to be
like
fair-
he's a threat as Bruce Wayne. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's Bruce Wayne," but he doesn't feel like a threat.
He's not Bruce Wayne in the movie much. That's the thing as well. So it's like, look, maybe this movie again. I think it's going the Spider-Man route, where Spider-Man No Way Home completes that origin story. Maybe it's a similar thing here, right? We see him in this movie become closer to what Batman is. Maybe in the next one he develops his Bruce Wayne persona, right? And we're building towards that iconic Batman, and we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay, the final thing, the biggest spoiler of them all, is the Joker's in this movie.
Joker's in this film.
Played by Barry Keoghan, I think is his name.
Wait, Barry Keoghan. He's
Barry Keoghan.
His actually name for the film is Officer Stan.
Stanley Merkel. They did that to try to protect the fact that he's playing the Joker.
Very nice. But
Now I'm gonna talk a lot of shit right now.
okay, here we go. Because
So-
I mean, yes, like you are a Joker connoisseur.
I'm a Joker connoisseur. I love a good Joker. I love talking shit about Jared Leto.
loves a good joke.
Look, good old Barry, right? He's done fantastic movies. I think most recently I've seen him in The Green Knight. He's fantastic in that. He's in Dunkirk. He's great in that. He's in a lot of good movies, and he's a good actor. Don't get me wrong, he's a good actor.
He is.
But he's not an exciting choice.
He isn't. Again, the way he looks, I think suits
see-
the role. Like he
yeah.
does look like an elven type if that is racist in any fucking way.
Did you say Elvin?
Yeah.
How's that racist?
I don't know.
All right.
I've had a singular beer. Watch out.
Yeah.
But like just the way his face is formed.
Okay, so
he does suit that Joker type.
in this movie,
Even though Heath Ledger just didn't. But
yeah, in this movie, it seems like he's got a permanent scarred smile.
he does
More
yeah.
in the vein of who was Tim Burton's Joker? Was it Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson.
It's more
yeah.
like Jack Nicholson, where he's got a permanent smile.
Yeah.
Not like a scarred smile like Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
But he's horribly disfigured. Like his face is horribly disfigured. And he's got hair that's more. He's kind of reminiscent.
He's got like red hair. So
He doesn't have a white face and green hair. I don't think, but it's hard to tell because the movie's so dark, like darkly shot. But his hair kind of reminds me of the Green Goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh yes,
where it's like
yes,
bald but like coming up.
yes, 100%. Yeah.
So his Joker look is fine, but I'm.
What did we think about the laugh?
I didn't like his voice or the laugh.
Same.
I didn't think it was good.
Same.
I think it's generically okay for a Joker.
Yeah, like
It's not special.
Again, Joaquin Phoenix's laugh was like
Perfect.
it was fucking perfect. It was like, you know, again, this is for people who catch public transport or shit. You know, when you're fucking, you know, just sit and mind your own business. Unfortunately, you have your headphones off, so you can just hear what's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And you just hear like a homeless person or a person that's like obviously going through it, but is like just a crazy homeless city person.
Yeah.
Who are just obviously like psychotic, and you just hear them speak.
Yeah.
And then you hear them laugh, and you fucking like shiver through your fucking body, like if they sat next to you, you'd shit your pants, or if they just looked at you in the eye, like you could, like, you know, you're an adult, all right? I'm an adult, but if they fucking look at you or just ask you a question,
You're just scared.
you're fucking scared for your life.
And yeah, and that's I would say definitively, in my opinion, Joaquin Phoenix has been the best Joker. Mm-hmm. And that's not to take anything away from Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson.
No, definitely.
Jack Nicholson's Joker is probably the best kind of comic booky kind of
Oh,
Joker.
100%, yeah.
Heath Ledger's suits the Dark Knight, of course. Like,
Oh my
like
God, it's like-
talked about. It's phenomenal performance, right?
The performance he did was just unmatched.
But it's not necessarily like that comic booky Joker, right?
No,
It's very different.
well, yeah, neither was the Batman, but
Yeah.
it just suited it so well.
Whereas Joaquin Phoenix's Joker kind of becomes a very authentic, like like you feel like he could exist in the real world kind
And
of
that's-
Joker,
and-
more so than Heath Ledger.
Exactly. And that's why we fucking are scared of it.
And what I'd say, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and Joaquin Phoenix nailed the voice, nailed the laugh,
Yeah.
nailed the act and the performance.
Whereas this, again, like, that's what I mean, like this, because it came in at the very last second.
Yeah,
That's why I feel like when they just did it, they're like, oh, fucking
I just think it's they.
put it in there.
What I would say, they've played it safe.
Yes,
They
100%.
played it safe. Even like when they cast Jared Leto as Joker, right? Yes, it didn't pan out, but it was a good choice.
It was a good choice nonetheless. Like he fucking...
He's the type of actor that would suit that role. Like, yes, it didn't pan, like not every like weirdo actor you're going to cast is going to work out,
But
it's in
it
the
made
vein.
sense in a, dare I say, financial sense of just like, okay, like, you know,
He's a weirdo. He does
but
shit.
that's, you know, again, we'll see from Barry.
We'll see. It's just, for the fact that they've cast Robert Pattinson as Batman, that's such a bold choice.
I know, and then they've done this with Joker. And it's like,
Or even Paul Dano as Riddler. That is such a bold choice.
yeah, you're right.
And to just cast such a generic guy to be the Joker, and then we see his performance in a scene, and it's just generic.
But again, it's
so sad.
That's true, but it is
It
very
is
generic,
just
but it
one
is
scene.
just a scene. And that's maybe what I think. I think they just chucked that in there because they're like, oh, good.
So
That's good. Joker.
there
And
was
I don't
supposed to be a scene earlier in the movie.
Yeah. With him in it.
Yes. So
Oh, okay.
so this is, I think I talked to you about it, but I was completely wrong. Turns out I accidentally spoiled the movie for myself, but I didn't realize at the time.
Piece of shit.
But it didn't matter because I didn't realize.
Good.
So Matt Reeves was talking about how Barry Keoghan, who plays the Joker, was in a scene earlier in the movie where the Batman wants to investigate or wants to like uncover like what's going on in the Riddler's mind. So he goes to the Joker, who he faced in his first year of being Batman, and this is canon, right? He faced the Joker before he was properly the Joker. Like, in this, he's still not the Joker.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he faced another serial killer that was.
So that's
like,
why he knows him.
yeah, he was on the way to becoming the Joker. Like, that's the character he faced in his first year. And that's the case that he got respect from Jim Gordon, and they developed that partnership, put this Joker character away. So it's a scene where Batman goes to him and is like, you know, trying to uncover what it's like to be a serial killer and try to uncover the Riddler's ideology and his mindset. So it's a scene in Arkham Asylum when he's talking to the Joker directly, which sounds like a fantastic scene.
It honestly does.
Why did they cut it?
I don't know. Maybe because it had a runtime of 3 hours or some shit.
It was too long.
Yeah. But wait,
Just like this podcast. Now, is there anything else you want to add?
2 hours and 56 minutes, yeah. Anything else I want to add?
Should we do a Budget Brothers?
We should do a Budget Brothers. Yeah, okay.
We'll end on a solid Budget Brothers. I'm gonna say the budget for Joker was like only 50 million.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I think this movie has a bigger budget than Joker, but probably less than like The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises.
So So the budget for the Joker is 70 million.
70 million, right? That's about right. Yeah.
Amazing.
I think the Batman's probably around 100 because it's fairly like a lot of it's simple.
That's true. Like they're not paying for too much.
Because The Dark Knight, they're paying for a lot.
That's true.
So I reckon The Dark Knight's probably like closer to 200. I reckon this is about 100.
Okay. So the release now as a finish above 40 million. Yeah. It's reported $90 million
Budget.
project budget.
There you go. That is... How many Jungle Cruises could you get? 2 and a bit, right?
2.
That's...
Oh my God. They definitely laundered money.
Dude,
Are you fucking kidding
they
me?
definitely laundered money on
God.
Jungle Cruise.
If you can make but again,
They use the budget so well in this movie.
yeah, like I guess the CG as well, and they,
Because the CG in this movie would be minimal. It's mostly practical effects. And
Oh
you feel
no!
it.
Wait, what is the Batman 2021 budget? I've been wrong.
Oh no.
It's actually 185 million. Why did that? No, that was just the. Okay, no, that was 90 million production budget.
Oh, not including marketing?
Not including marketing.
Okay, we don't include marketing.
Oh, okay.
So Jungle Cruise was 200 million before marketing.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So that's right. Because Joker was like 70 million before marketing as well. Yeah.
Well,
So they use their budget so well. Like, fuck this. Like, is it? Look, it's
what has happened?
The Dark Knight is a simple movie that's done perfectly.
Yeah, let's.
I almost prefer the Batman because even though it's not perfect, it's got gaping holes in the plot.
Yeah.
I love what
Dude,
they did with it.
the Dark Knight's budget was 180.
Yeah, before so double.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight's double the Batman in terms of budget, which is about what I thought. Because the Dark Knight's this huge spectacle and the Batman isn't.
Exactly. Exactly.
Look, the Dark Knight's I would say my favorite movie of all time. But I fucking loved the Batman.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, the box office soars with 57 million on Friday. So
Yeah.
it's going fucking well.
It's going
I mean,
well.
it started not very well, but it's going well. So yeah.
Well, I think that's it for the pod. We've been talking for way longer than I thought we would
how
on the
long have we
Batman.
been talking?
I think we've been talking about this movie
145
for the
minutes.
longest we've talked about any movie.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's because
again,
it's so good.
It was so good, and we just wanted to touch on everything because we were so excited for this film. It was fucking
this
awesome.
movie's been hyped up for so long, and it lives up to the hype.
Oh yeah,
It lives up to the hype.
I agree. Like if that's all I can say from this fucking film, it lives up for the hype.
Yeah.
You should watch it.
Yeah.
Like No Way Home. honestly.
Yeah.
That lived up to the hype. This does as well. Exactly.
Well, we'll be back to talk about the next gigantic superhero movie, which is probably Doctor Strange. I reckon that's the next
yes. Oh my goodness.
But until then, next week we're going to talk about, and I haven't told you this yet, there's a new Ryan Reynolds movie coming out on Netflix called The Adam Project, and it's gotten really good reviews. It's like a sci-fi movie.
You know
it's gonna
what?
be sick.
Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I think I saw a trailer for this where he's like,
It's
oh,
like
you.
it's a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Apparently
and it
it's
spoils
very
in the
good.
fucking trailer.
I see. I haven't seen the trailer.
Well, no, I saw like a 30-second trailer, and it managed to spoil the whole film
That's
in
really
30
sad.
seconds.
That's really sad.
30. I mean, like it better
Well,
be.
you're gonna have a good view on it next week.
I know.
Then. But I will say next week we're unfortunately not going to be in person.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be.
I know. I lied to you last time when we reviewed Uncharted. I said we'd be in person for the rest of our lives. But unfortunately, circumstances persist. So I've got to go back home to Sydney. So we'll be doing virtually next week. But still, nonetheless, it'll be a good time. So catch us then. We're a podcast now. We're click the link in the description if you want to go to Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, or YouTube, because we do record these podcasts in video as well as audio. And we're on social media, so check us out there. Just click the link in the description and follow us where you want if you've enjoyed. And thank you very much for watching this week.
We love you.
We love you
so
very much.
Yeah, you're great.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, we will. I mean, it'll be fucking good.
It'll
honestly.
be fun.
All right, see you then.
Okay.
I love you. Bye.